What's up, movie lovers? It's your girl Rossie, and I'm back with another awesome review. This time, you guys, we have a short film that I wanted to review with you all. I have Zo here. He's from Backlook Cinema Podcast. You guys know Zo. He's been on the channel many of times on Movie Lovers, and we all work together. So this movie is called The Change. You guys, this is a film from a Sacramento director. His name is Nick Anderson. We also, he came on the show, on my other show, and I interviewed him. He has a really awesome documentary that's coming out in a year from now. And it's called The Right to Exist. It's about homelessness here in Sacramento and also around the country. It's pretty bad. So he's doing a thoughtful and mindful documentary about that. So if you guys are ready, let's talk about his movie, The Change. Pretty interesting. What's up, Zoe?
Hey, Rossi, how you doing?
Fine. How are you?
I'm doing swell. It's great to
Good.
be back talking
I'm,
to
s-
you and
you
about
know,
my favorite
Zoe.
thing, talking about movies.
The thing with Zoe is he goes really in depth with his movie reviews. And when I do a review with him, I wanted to send you something that's like good and worthy of a review. So I like to pick certain movies for you that's different. And you guys know Zoe and I did a double feature, oh gosh, a year or so ago, I think. Zoe
Probably
doesn't
about a
do
year
like
ago.
horror films. And you did good. We
So,
did Piggy.
yeah, I handled it well.
He handled it really good, and it wasn't bad. Piggy wasn't bad. And the other one was the M Night Shyamalan's the cavern or the tavern,
The knock at the cabin.
the
Yeah,
cabin.
yeah. Is it the knock at the cabin or the knock at the door? I think it was the
There you
knock at the
go,
cabin.
knock.
I know
There
there
you
was some
go.
knocking going on.
It was
They
it
weren't
was some
knocking who?
knocking. Yes, that one was good though. That wasn't too much scary. It was just the end of the world type of film. If you guys missed that, go and watch the review, and also go check out the movie. It's not bad. Anyways, though, so today we're going to talk about Nick Anderson's The Change. And it was produced by Bright Coast Productions. Nick Anderson is a director here in Sacramento. He's a pretty big name. He's excellent director. This film won a lot of awards at film. Guys, a little bit about it, okay? A group of kids surviving in a post-apocalyptic world are forced to leave their safe cabin to save one of their sick comrades. The opening, the shot, the perfect shot that the girl made. Her name is Jess. Just overall, when the film started, what did you think of the atmosphere, the opening? What did you think?
Overall, I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed how the movie opened up, how it gave you uh it was kind of mysterious. It gave you some shots that did make sense when you first look at it because it's out of context, and then slowly as the story began to unfold, it added more and more context
Right,
where the shots made more and more sense. And
right,
I did enjoy how that was put together, how it's not giving you all the answers right away. It's basically giving you bits and pieces of the story and allowing us to like guess and speculate, and then this story is revealed as it's being told. So I really enjoyed how that was put together.
right. You know what I liked about it was the fact of you have a lot of Walking Deads and a lot of that, but you don't see ones where there's kids, where it's just a world full of kids. At least I haven't seen that yet. So the opening of the film, I was kind of took back because you have this girl. Her name is Jess. You guys, Jess is the leader of the group. She's the oldest one in the group, and she takes this shot at a monster, and a perfect shot, and it took me by surprise because you don't really see that with young people, especially in openings. So that was different. I was really definitely was tuned in and wanted to know what's going on. At the beginning of the film, though, you do see a young kid. His name is Ty, and Ty is constantly playing with this radio. Okay, because yeah, obviously they're alone. Like they said, post-apocalyptic world, so no one's there. They're alone, but there's this radio that he has and he's playing with because, trying to see if there's anyone else out there besides them. So we get into the scene where we get to the cabin. And what did you think about? Well, first of all, I want to say that the film was shot. Let's see, Nick said it was shot up here in Northern California in the woods here. So it really gave that presence of alone, nothing's there, no one's there. So I love the location that he did pick here in Northern California. But when you get back to the little tavern or the cabin where the kids were staying, what did you think about that? Did you think that there would be parents like you'd see their parents or whatnot?
Yeah, yeah, you do expect to see some adults there, but not especially because they kind of gave it away when you had the young teenager and she's taking a shot, and usually you would expect an adult to do
Right.
that. So I wasn't especially surprised when
Okay.
she walked in the cabin and there's a bunch of other kids. And I like the way they set that up. Like she walks into the cabin and then she does a secret knock. It was like I could tell right away, oh, that's a secret knock, and to make sure he's not like an uninvited guest. And it's like on the door it says go away, right? So it's just
Right.
like, and it's like
Right.
it's a like a steel sign that says go away that's near the door.
Right.
So they really don't want visitors. So I liked
Right.
all of that. And she walks in and it's a bunch of kids. It's like it was I kind of expected that because like
Okay.
I said, you would have the adult with the rifle. Like she had a rifle. She didn't even have a pistol, right? Or a
No,
revolver.
no, no. I
She had
I thought maybe there were, she was taught to shoot. She was taught to shoot, so maybe there are parents. So when I see the scene in the cabin where you do notice those signs and you go inside and they're all kids, I'm like, okay, all right, this is really different. And you have one kid, her name is Eve, she's 6, she's Jess's sister. And then you have this other kid. His name is Jeremiah. So just to let you guys know, you have Ty, who's the young kid that's playing with the radio. You have Marcus, who we find out a little bit later is his birthday. You have Jeremiah, and you have Jess. And Eve is the Jess's little sister that is very ill. Well, what I liked is the fact that obviously you have to figure that these kids have been in this situation for some time. And another thing you notice is that all of the monsters are older people. I don't at that time you don't see any, young monsters, okay? But Jeremiah, who I would think is the next oldest, he and Jess, they're the ones that go out and pillage and find everything. And we're at a point where Marcus is getting a little, and Jeremiah, it's like, he doesn't feel that Marcus is ready to go out and find medicine. But, Jess, who is the female leader, she thinks it's time. So you can take us from that point.
Yeah, she think it's time. They're in a cabin. They need some more supplies because actually earlier Jeremiah had come back and he just walks in the
Right.
cabin. They was like, "You didn't do the secret knock." It was
Right.
like,
That's right. That's
"Sorry,
right.
dudes, my hands were full." Right. So and so they have to go out. They're still missing some supplies, so they have to go out again. And basically they're scavenging the empty stores. And they're saying that the other kid isn't ready yet. The one whose this birthday is he's
Right.
they
Marcus,
but
Jess.
Jess Marcus, right? Jess wants him to go because he has to learn sometime.
Yeah.
So that's when they go out. And he's scared, he doesn't want to go. And
Yes.
she's like, good, you should be scared, right? It's because it's a scary world out there. She didn't say that exactly, but yeah, I think that's the
But
sentiment that she was given. It's a
yes.
scary world, and it's like all you're gonna do is just gonna watch. You're just gonna watch us, and we're gonna make sure you stay safe. So
Right.
that's when they all go out and they go
Right.
to, I guess it's a town, a remnants of a town, but I only really see one store. No, actually there's a few buildings there. So the store they're trying to get to is like I guess a general store, a drugstore,
Right.
and they run and the first thing they see is a well, when you see a woman from the back, she's and it looks like
Yes.
she's like knocking on the door, and this is what I mean about the story slowly revealing itself, like because you don't know because you see it from the back, you don't know what's up with this person. Like, is
Right.
she an adult that belongs there? Is that person someone they're trying to avoid? Is that something
Right.
a person they can offer help? Like, is she gonna and if they're trying to avoid her, why? So the
Right.
movie opens up and slowly reveals all of that. Like what's the deal with this woman
Right.
knocking on the store door, or if she's indeed knocking, or she's doing something else, is she trying to break in the store? Like
Right.
what's up with that person? And so I like how the 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 way the movie is shot, it and the way the
Yes.
story is being told, it's causing us as the viewer to ask questions, and then
Absolutely.
the story reveals the answer. So I like that.
Definitely. At the store, you don't real well, the way the movie's made is there's no one else there. So when you find other than the monsters, so when they run into the little kid who is actually being surrounded by the other monsters, and Jess gets there and rescues him. I felt so bad because I'm thinking, great. And she's telling the kid, don't worry. I think his name's Clark. Don't worry. We're going to bring you back. That like there's others. And so I'm thinking, great. They found this kid. They're going to rescue this kid. Unfortunately, the kid had to be sacrificed. I mean, the monsters got to this little kid, and it was so sad. It was so
Yeah,
sad because I'm like, really?
yeah. The thing is that I'm not someone who watches a lot of horror, so I'm not familiar with all
Okay.
the tropes. I think that somebody who watches a lot of horror movies, they might suspect that something like this is going to happen.
Right.
But it was a surprise to me too. So
Yeah.
it's like a lot of things are happening. Like what's his name? Marcus. Marcus, I say Marcus.
Marcus, yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
Marcus.
he goes to this, like, Jess sends Marcus and Jeremiah into the store to get supplies,
Right.
and then she's by herself to do lookout, which is kind of strange because she did a she flipped on Marcus. She told Marcus, all you're going to do is watch?" It's like, "No, Marcus, you're going to go into the store with
Right.
Jeremiah. Now you got a mission." And so Jess stood watch, which makes sense because um because I guess she didn't want Jeremiah to go into the store by himself because he got nobody to
Right.
watch his back. And then she's doing pulling Overwatch, watching all, because there's the
Absolutely.
woman who was knocking at the door was actually one of the zombies, and so she's overwatching the whole area. And so they're in the store, and then they uh they draw the monster's attention, and all of a sudden all the
Yes.
monsters start gathering around the store. They start going into the store. So Jess, she has a backpack and it's full of supplies, and one of the supplies she pulls out is a whistle. So she blows that whistle as
That's right.
hard as she can to draw
Right.
the monsters away. And one of the things that you notice is that they had mentioned that one of the things they said when they first approached the store is like, "Don't worry, she can't smell us from here." So it
Right.
kind of gives it away that she's not normal.
Right. Very
and so
true. That's right. That's right.
and so that's one of the things that is somewhat a little bit different, is that these are zombie or creatures that can smell.
Right.
That
Yes.
they use that as well as sound. There's not
Yes.
too much. It doesn't seem like they can see very well, because
Yeah.
they're able to hide from the monsters pretty well. They do like duck and cover, but they're very careful about making noises. So
Absolutely.
with all that, I think they're kind of drawing inspirations from The Last of Us, because it reminded me a lot of that game as I was watching the
Absolutely.
movie. So
Absolutely.
they go and they go and they chase Jeff. Jeff runs into like a warehouse, and then that's where she
Right.
finds the little boy that you were mentioning. And then she's like trying to convince, because the boy doesn't like older people for obvious
Right.
reason. Because now you're starting to get the feeling that
Yes.
all the adults are monsters. So he's hiding from
Absolutely.
anybody that resembles adults, and that's including Jeff. Just because when you're that young, that's what adults
Yeah.
look like. So she convinces them to go. She says there's kids, there's food, and so she follows them. And the monsters
Poor
come
thing.
in, and
Yeah.
you're like, they're both ducking and cover trying to get out. And
Yes.
so that as they're being chased to the warehouse, there's a door. It's got like a chain on it, but they're
Right.
both small enough or skinny enough to squeeze through the door. She's able to make it through the door. She's
Mm.
holding the little kid, but the zombies grab the little kid and snatch the little kid from her,
Absolutely.
and they just immediately start eating. It's like there's no
I
suspense
know,
or anything like that.
right?
They don't waste any time. Like in another
None.
type of movie, there's a pause. They wait, and it's like you see the kid's face, you see the zombie face, and they give it like a wink to the camera, and then they start
Right.
uh threatening to eat or whatever. But no, they start eating the little kid immediately,
Immediately.
and
Immediately. This kid has
Jess is
no
horrified.
hope.
Right.
It really is. And I was not expecting that. I honestly thought there's no way this kid's going to die. He's going to go back to the camp and they're going to get, a bigger group. That's what you're thinking. So you're not expecting that. That does happen. I do want to talk about, like, for a short film like this, and this film was made with a lot of people around town that's close knit to Nick. I love the fact that the monsters were done pretty well for a short film, a small budget, So I do appreciate that. They did a good job with the monsters, and how they looked, and they did have a little resemblance to it. It makes you think of The Last of Us a little bit, because the way some of their heads were shaped or whatnot. So I do want to say that you guys did a really good job at Bright Coast Productions with the monsters, and I thought the film, so far, like, I into it, and normally with short films, when they're in and out so fast, you don't expect to be connected to it like that. But instantly, I wanted to know more about these kids and whatnot. Anyways, they make it out of there and they make it back to their cabin, but they go inside, and they mention that it's Marcus's birthday, and like Jeremiah says, it birthdays mean nothing. It's just, you're trying to survive each day, so a birthday means nothing. Anyways, they do notice, or Jess notice, that Jess is bleeding, and she must have got, bit or something. And I want to also mention, just to go back, remember in the first scene when they get ready to bed down that night, they all put handcuffs on themselves. I thought that was strange as well, because what's going on? Why are they all handcuffing or chaining themselves to their pallets? So I do want to mention that, that they do
Yeah.
that. And obviously at this point, when they go out, you realize why they do that, why they're doing that, because they don't know which one of them, in case one of them are bit, they want to make sure they're not hurting each other. So we find out that something happened to, was out and about, and she's bleeding. So it was kind of like cold blooded, the way the way Jeremiah takes the key and just tosses it at her, and like,
Yeah.
make sure, go ahead, Zoe.
No, I was just saying that I think it was just Jeremiah and Jess who handcuffed themselves. I
Was it
don't
just
think
them that did that? Maybe
I
because
think
they
so.
always go out. They're the ones that go out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. I thought they all did. My bad. But the two of, and obviously, as we figured out, it's because they're the ones that go out and get the food. They're constantly out and about. So they chain themselves up to their beds or pallets, whatever, so that if something happens, they don't attack the other kids. But this time, Jess is bleeding. I thought it was something else why she was bleeding, because where it was. But
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I thought that. I thought, oh, okay, it's just a girl thing, but it wasn't a girl thing. So um, they find out Jess is bleeding, and she obviously has been bit, by one of these monsters. And so Jeremiah just, lets the other kids know, like, you need to pack up, get your stuff. Ty, Marcus, get your stuff. They got to get Eve out of there. Eve is the sister that's sick. And he just kind of tosses the key to Jess and just says, give us at least 5 minutes. So did you think at that time that she was bit?
Well, I actually thought a couple of things. From the way they were talking, it seemed to me that they were all destined to change. Like, I don't think that
Okay.
they needed to be bit. I think they were just going to naturally change, and that's why the
Really?
oldest one, like Jeremiah and Jess, were the oldest ones. So that's why they always
Right.
change themselves. And the thing that Jeremiah says is that
Maybe.
they always change. It's like everybody
Very
changes, and
true.
that's what it seemed like to me. And I think
Oh,
that just her being attacked, she was either scratched or bit. Just her
right,
being attacked kind of accelerated her change, like having
right,
in contact with the adult monsters,
right.
basically accelerated what was going to happen to her anyway. That is the
Huh.
notion I got from it. And it's like, I think
Okay.
that, like, as different people watch it, they're gonna have different interpretations. So
Right.
that is what how I interpreted the story.
You
And
know,
so
hmm. Yeah, I see that, because yeah, I can see that eventually you're bound to change. It's going to happen. I wonder if you get to a certain age.
yeah, that's what I'm
You know
thinking.
what I
Because
mean? Maybe
all
when you get to that certain age.
Right, because all the adults had changed. It's just the
Yeah,
kids trying to fend for themselves, and that's why Jeremiah was like, "That's why we all changed," and that's why it was only Jeremiah and Jess that changed him because the little girl that was sick, Jess's sister Eve, didn't
right,
change. Well, she wasn't chained up.
right.
The little kid with the glasses, he wasn't chained up. And then
Yeah,
Micah, I mean Malcolm, he wasn't chained. I keep
right.
forgetting his name, Marcus. Marcus
Marcus,
wasn't chained
Marcus,
up.
you
It's an
said he
M name.
walked away.
Marcus wasn't chained up either. He was the one that was
Very
in charge of the
true.
key. The only like question I had is like so at the end Jeremiah tosses Jess the key
Right.
and like asking her to give him like 5 minutes or
5 minutes, yeah.
head start or whatever, which on the surface that didn't like make any sense because like once she's fully a monster she's not going to know how to use a key.
Yeah, 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 no, very, no, that did cross my mind because I'm like, okay,
Right.
if she changes and he
Yeah,
gives her the key,
she's
how
just
would
going to
she
be a
in her
zombie that's
mind
stuck
know
there.
I'm going to pick the key up, put it in here? Yeah, that's a very good point. And you also make another good point by the fact that um well, we'll go back to the little boy. His name was Clark. The boy
Yeah.
that got okay. He wasn't bitten, he was eaten, obviously, or torn apart, whatever.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So there is no, so okay, I see where you're going. So there is no kind of change, like they're gonna, like Walking Dead, if they get you, you're gonna, that's the only way that you can change if they bite you or you cut your blood meats on Walking Dead. But this one, yeah, it does seem like you get to a certain age and eventually it's going to happen. And like you said, Jeremiah does mention it's going to happen. So it happens to Jess. What did you think about her change?
Oh, it was pretty good change. It
Yeah,
seemed like something that you would see in a horror movie, so it's
yeah,
something that I'm used to. I do like the way it was shot,
yeah,
and it kind of reminded me of like either another horror movie or like a music video. You would see something like that. But yeah, it
right,
was very well done, and they didn't actually show her like all
right,
monstered up,
yeah,
so it
yeah,
was just like a change in her eyes. So
yeah,
I really did like that. The other thing about Jeremiah tossing the key, I was thinking that don't you need that key? I guess maybe you have another key because they left
right,
Marcus in charge of the key. So it seemed to me that they only had one key to handcuff themselves to because but I guess it doesn't matter because they don't have any more handcuffs. That was it.
yeah,
So now they just kind of have to tie Marcus down some other kind of way because
yeah,
the handcuffs were like chained to the floor. They was like bolted to the floor. So apparently
right,
they've been in that cabin for a while. And
yes,
so to make that setup. So they're gonna have to make that setup all over again. They didn't really take the time to try to deconstruct the handcuff
no,
mechanism of setup. So whenever they get to the next safe haven, they're gonna have to like just tie Jeremiah
right,
up some kind of way.
right, because that has to happen. I mean, if you think ahead, that has to happen because obviously they do
Right.
that there, and he's going to change at some point, so that has to happen. So they leave this cabin where they're at, the cabin where they've been living for a while. They get Eve out, and they're on their way. They're walking, and Ty is still playing with that damn that radio. And so he's playing with it, and at some point, I think he realizes, no one's out there, so he throws it. And of course, as they walk away and they're walking into the sunset, however you want to see it, the radio comes on. And I'm thinking there's going to be more, but the radio comes on and you hear someone saying, "Are you there? Are you there? Are you there?" I felt so bad for those kids because someone was there. They finally did respond to the kids or to whoever's on the other end of the radio. But they throw it away, they throw the radio out and they walk away, and that's that. That's that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Go ahead. What did you
they
think about that?
I don't think that I don't think they walked far enough away for them not to hear it. Because I think that as soon as like uh like the radio is tossed,
Yeah.
then they hear the adult voice. Sack Metalhead says they hear
Yeah.
an
The
adult
adult
voice.
voice.
And
Thank you. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you.
and, and actually the funny thing about that was that they don't expect to hear an adult voice because as far as they're concerned all the adults are monsters, so when they turn around they're shocked and surprised they hear an adult voice on the radio.
Right.
So it's not like all hopes are lost. It's something that they could they can go back and pick up the radio and possibly
Right.
communicate with the person that was trying to contact them. I think the person was just throwing out a general call. He wasn't calling a particular radio, and the
Right.
kids
Right.
weren't really trying to call anybody either. I think like when
No, it
you
was
first
just to
see,
see, if they
yeah,
get anybody.
I think like when you first see the kid and he's playing with the radio at the very beginning of the movie, that was actually a setup for the zombie. I think that he was actually playing with the radio to serve as a distraction so that Jess
Okay.
can face the zombie and shoot him from behind. Right?
I can see that. I'm
I think that
thinking
was
that he's
it.
playing with it to find someone, like, or just, is anyone out there? But
Yeah, yeah.
I can definitely see your point as well. Um, I could totally watch this as a feature length film.
Oh yeah, it would
I
definitely
could
work
totally watch. I think it would be a
as
good
a
feature
fully
length
fleshed out
film.
story. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
To find out like more, I would love to know more about the story. I would love to know more about what happened to the adults. How did they change? And for it to be packed in 17 minutes and some odd seconds, a beginning and an end. I thought it was good.
Yeah, this is one of the better like short films that I've seen. I haven't seen a lot. I haven't seen a whole bunch,
Okay.
but from the ones I have seen, I've seen a lot of student films, and I've seen a lot of just shorts in general. And I mean, the student films aren't bad, but you can kind of tell they're
Right.
student films. It's like they
Yes.
and
Yes.
when I see them, there's like it's not like they're trying to pretend that these films are
No, of
cinema.
course.
They know what they made.
Of course. Of course. Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
and they've been
This
good, but this
film,
is
go ahead, Zoe. I'm sorry. Go
no, I
ahead.
would just say this is just one of the better ones that I've seen. I like the way, and I especially like the way the story unfolded. I like the creature effects. I like the sound design. The sound
Yes.
designs of the creatures
Yes.
was very good. So yeah, that was it was very intriguing.
Absolutely. Nick, you did a great job. And I want to mention this film won so many awards. I mean, they won a Daily Short Pick Film Shortage Festival. They won First Time Filmmaker Sessions, Spooky Empires International Horror Film, Bash Bay Area Short Film Festival, Bite Size Film Festivals, Catalina 2020 Film Festival. This movie came out in 2019. So they won a lot of films, and I totally understand. And I want to mention these young actors that are in the film really quick. Let's give them their props. Jess is played by Mollimykenna Whalen. Caleb Alexander Roberts played Jeremiah. Nathan Root played Elliot Lichter, played Ty. Ellie Hawkerson Brunn played Eve, and Coda Baker played Clark. So very talented, young, talented actors. I thought they did a great job. By the way, I was sold that they were living out there for as long as they lived out there. I was sold that the kids were pretty smart. I bought that. So Nick Anderson, Bright Coast Productions, you guys did a great job on this film. I'm looking forward to seeing your next film. By the way, guys, Nick Anderson has a film that's coming out in about a year. It's called The Right to Exist. I wanted to mention that again. And yeah, final short film, guys. I'm sorry. There's not much to it other than what we watched, and I do wish that it was longer. This could definitely be a feature film because it's entertaining. I thought it was good. I was really locked in.
Yeah, same here. I thought it was a very good film.
Okay, okay. Let's see. Zoe, please tell the folks what you have going on, what's coming up for you on your show, and tell them just a little bit about Backlook Cinema, what you do there.
So Backlick Cinema is my movie podcast where we take a look back at the movies of yesteryear. And I like to talk about the movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, the movies that I loved when I was growing up. And have a lot of interesting guests coming down the pipe. I just did an episode with Jeff Macalino, and we talked about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the very
Oh,
first live action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
wow.
And up next, I'm going to have Luke Ferris, who has his own podcast called the what's it called? I'm blanking on the name now. it's called it's called The Least Important Things, and that's interesting because he talks about things that are the least important, the most important of the least important. And Yeah, he has a variety of subjects that he talks about. So we'll get together and talk about Point Break. I finally get to
Ooh,
dive into that movie, and
ooh.
that episode is already recorded. It's going to be released next week. And then further down the line, I have Stephanie Graham. She has Nosy AF podcast, and we're going to talk about Brewster's Millions. And
Oh,
that's another
cool.
classic. And actually, I didn't know this, but that's actually the one with John Candy and what's his name? I'm blanking on the name. Jojo Dancer.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor. Thank you so
Yes.
much. I'm ashamed that I forgot. So it's but I didn't realize that movie was a remake. And then further
Okay.
down the line, all the way in September, I have Emily Morelli, who is an author, and I will update everybody on more about that show as we get closer to the date. But yeah, it's just a lot of exciting people. And I forgot to
Nice.
mention Jeff Macalino has a podcast called the Jeff Macalino Podcast. So yeah, just really
Nice.
excited about the shows that I am doing and the shows that's coming down the line.
Absolutely. And you're up on all major podcasting platforms, right? So they can listen to
Yes,
you.
yes,
Okay. So you guys
yes.
can listen to JoJo Dancer. You guys can listen to Zoe. I was like, you guys can listen to Zoe wherever you listen to your podcast. You will find Backlook Cinema podcast. All right. And for John and I, we have some special things coming up. I can't talk about it right now because we're trying to finalize the ink, but I'm telling you, it's really exciting what we have coming up. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks. Also, guys, I will have my gang back for our video game segment, and we have a lot of Grand Theft Auto 6 news coming for you guys. That's going to be the 28th of the month. And then on Rossie's Clubhouse, my other podcast, you guys can go over there. I just interviewed, who was it? It was BK the Don. He's a rapper out of Atlanta, super talented. I mean, this guy is at marketing. I had a great time with you and talking with you, BK. Thank you so much for opening up and sharing your life and your world. Appreciate that. You guys, that's up now. And I have, let's see, YNG4L and Mello. They're going to come in, Mellow the Band, they're going to come in at the end of the month. And we're going to do an early show because they have concerts to do that night. So we're going to talk with them. And hopefully next week I can bring in Zay the Prophet. We're going to catch up and see what's going on with him. And then a lot of great shows coming up in September and October. Very special guests coming up in October. So thank you guys so much. Also, shout out to my Unfiltered studio family. Love you guys so much. Thank you guys for hosting us. You guys can check out John DeGregorio on Movie Lovers Unite. Rossie Talks is a spinoff segment of Movie Lovers Unite. So you can check us out on the same podcast and the same YouTube channel. You can find Rossie Talks. And that's about it. I hope you all have a great week. Be good to each other out there and enjoy the rest of the summer because it's almost over. I live in California, so it's always sunny here. We have summer all year round. I can't wait for rain. But you know, it's serious, Joe. We haven't had rain in like 6 months. 6 months, and we just got out of triple digits. It's crazy, but it's beautiful. I'm gonna put the overlay on. You guys, thank you so much, and we're going to be out.